We all know, Trey. We all know you're going to be traded. We just don't know where you're going to be traded. There's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of, people saying, oh, he's going to go here. He's going to go here. I'm going to give you my thoughts of where, I think Trae Young might end up. We're going to go through a couple trade ideas here from ESPN, Bleacher Report, what just normal fans are saying. They're floating ideas all over the place. Let's roll the intro. We got a jam-packed show today, boys. Welcome to Inside the Zone with Matteo. Let's roll the intro. I'll see you guys on the other side of the intro. He's right, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Zone with Matteo, where we are talking only about the Trae Young mayhem today here on Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. Episode 2 of Season 2 here in 2026, Chris. We are only talking about the NBA today. We are only talking about one player. It is Trae Young. We all know what happened. Let's just get right into it. I showed you that already kind of in the intro, but here we go. So Shems Charania said yesterday, about 20 hours ago from so it was 4:50 p.m. Yesterday when, I'm recording this on the 6th. It was the 5th, about 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. By the way, this has had 7.2 million views here on X. It says, just in, Atlanta Hawks All-Star Trae Young and his agents, Aaron Mintz, Drew Morrison, and Austin Brown are working with the franchise, meaning the Atlanta Hawks, on a trade, sources tell ESPN. Young's reps and the Hawks have started collaborative talks over the last week on finding a resolution. So, clearly this means Trae Young is going to be traded. He's a very good point guard. If you guys don't know who he is, here's some of his career stats we'll pull up in a second. There we go. Trae Young. Ice Trae is his nickname. He's a point guard. Right now, he hasn't really been playing a lot. And a lot of this has come to this. They've come to this conclusion. Not the Olympics. What am I doing, boys? I'm sorry. Let's restart this. The rumors really started because the Hawks were going crazy without Trae Young in the lineup because he had that MCL sprain, I'm pretty sure, to start the year. So right now, they're 2-8 with Trae Young. Without Trae Young, they're 15-12. Their winning percentage is way up. Their points per game is 2 points less, but they're shooting better. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is now averaging a career-high 21 points, former Timberwolf. We really love Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And so that's why these rumors started, and now it just seems like he's unhappy and he wants to go to a different team. But he's been here 8 years, all the way since 2018. He is 27 years old. So he's still kind of in his prime. His career averages, I want to say here, are he's averaging 34.3 minutes a night. Shooting 43% from the floor. 3-point percentage of 35.1%. Free throw percentage, about 87%, which if you're the Timberwolves, that makes him interesting because you need Timberwolves. You need Timberwolves that can actually, like, we cannot hit a free throw to save our lives right now. But again, we'll get into that in a little bit later. But career stats, his career point total right now, he's averaging 25.2 points a game, which is very, very good. It's very respectable. And I'm just really interested to, see where he ends up getting traded. And we'll speculate here. We will for sure speculate here on Inside the Zone with Matteo. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on our road to 100 subscribers. Appreciate all of you guys. And in the playoffs, well, you say, well, how well is he in the postseason? Well, he's been in the postseason 3 years. He was in the postseason 2020 through 2021 and through the 2022 season. He averaged 26.4 points, in about 38 minutes a night. I don't believe they did anything crazy. They did make it pretty far in his first postseason. They played 16 games, which is enough for at least two. At least two rounds. I think he got eliminated in the third round, if I'm not mistaken. But then he's been first rounded in the 2021-2022 season, and the 2022-2023 season he was first rounded as well. But he's shown that he can play. He can play in the playoffs, and they've been very fun to watch. But the rumors have it here, and Trae Young. It's most likely he's going to be traded. So focus of this, the focus of this episode is we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop just yapping and yapping, and we're gonna get to the good stuff. We're gonna get to the trade ideas, trade Young, potential landing spots, and all that stuff. From what the professionals are saying, then we'll talk about what I say, and then we'll finally wrap it up with what other fans are saying around the league. They're giving their own trade ideas here. And I want to take you guys to let's do ESPN first. So I'll give you my thoughts on this. I haven't really seen this. I think I saw the first one, but they give you 4 deals that could happen for the Trae Young guide, basically trade guide here. So they just kind of they're just talking about things. Go ahead and read this article if you want to. But 4 proposals for Young, and the Wizards have been in the news now since Shems broke this story here on the internet. People have all of a sudden been talking about the Wizards and that the Wizards could be a perfect fit for him. I am not quite sure about that. The Wizards is just they're I mean, they are playing much better than they normally have been playing, but I just don't know if I can see them going, especially since Trae Young's on an expiring deal in the next couple of years. Um, I just don't know if I would want that. I mean, he has 2 years left on his deal, so he'll have this year and then the next year. So it's almost a rental too, because you could lose him in free agency. I don't know if a younger team that's trying to build up a star would want Trae Young over there. But I mean, they've expressed interest. Right now, the Wizards sit at 9-25 here. In the Eastern Conference, the Wizards, 3 wins more than the worst team in the league, the Indiana Pacers. I just don't think. I think Trae wants to win, and that's the problem with Atlanta. Atlanta, I think, are winning without Trae, but when Trae's playing with the Atlanta Hawks, they're losing and not really competing. He wants to compete, I'm pretty sure. He's in his prime. He wants to, do good stuff. So I have a hard time seeing him going to the Wizards. And I believe they mentioned the Bucks as well in this. But let's not jump ahead, but let's talk about this offer. They have 2 offers, I'm pretty sure, for Trae Young. But the first one is this. Um, yeah, it's yikes. Okay. Trae Young and a second round pick the Wizards get from 2031. I don't know why they would get another thing other than Trae Young. But then the Hawks would get Malachi Branham, a former first round pick, AJ Johnson, another former first round pick, CJ McCollum, who just matches that salary and is an expiring contract. And then they also get a 2026 first round pick via worst of the Clippers, Rockets, and Thunder, whatever. First thoughts of this, if you think this is enough for Trae Young, the stuff that I was putting together before the show last night when I was hearing this is overpaying for Trae Young. And that's the kind of thing we don't know exactly, I don't think, what Trae Young's trade value is. We saw Luka Doncic basically get traded for an old superstar in Anthony Davis, who is not really great. There was maybe a first. What were the contents of that Doncic? The Doncic trade. The whole thing. What was in it? Hold on. Let me just show you guys here. I'm just pulling it up because I don't want to say wrong things as well. But it was Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. But then here, yeah, there we go. I don't remember who exactly was all in it as well. Why do we have Facebook? Bro, are you kidding? Okay, so yeah, a first round pick was included here. So Luka Doncic, Morris and Kleber from the Lakers went to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick in 2029. If you're saying that's went for a generational talent in Luka Doncic, what's Trae Young's value? Because he's not close to the Doncic, but he's still a good point guard. So, when you say this here, when you say, they're just getting Malachi Branham, AJ Johnson, CJ McCollum, and a 2026 first-round pick. The first is good. That's what you want. But I also think the Hawks aren't that far away from competing in a weak Eastern Conference that they might want players to help their bench. And I don't know if this helps their bench totally. So that's why I like a couple of my trades better. We will get to them in a second. But here, let's pull up I'm going to use Fanspo a lot. I love Fanspo. So obviously it would have Trae Young going to the Wizards. And then CJ McCollum to match salary. He's an expiring deal. And then they said they had Malachi Branham, who is 22 years old. He has 1 year left on his deal as well. And then AJ Johnson, 21 years. He has 3 years on his deal. And I think, this does go with the salary cap here. And then there was a first-round pick with this first-round pick right here. This goes to the Hawks. So this would go through, I'm pretty sure. Try trade. As you can see, it goes through. And this is just an easier way to see it, in my opinion, because you have all the stats of how much money they're making and stuff. Right now, it says that the Wizards get 6+ wins with this trade, which is is that enough to compete for a play-in spot right now? That would take you to 17 wins, and that would be tying you with the Hawks. And then I believe it said the Hawks would -6. Yeah, it says -6 wins, so then the Hawks would lose 6. So in a way, you can compete for a play-in spot, but do we really think they're going to be a Cleveland team, a Miami team, a Magic team, a Bulls team? I don't think so. I think the Wizards are going to find somebody eventually. I really do. I think they're going to be a trade partner with somebody eventually. I just don't know if, Trae Young is that guy right now. And I'm a little confused here, okay? We're going to adjust this trade because we have another trade going on with the Wizards and the Hawks. We'll get back to that in a second, but let's go back over here to the Wizards. I just saw the teams. I didn't really pay attention closely to who's in it, but here we go. So that's the first one, and I would say pretty much I don't like that really, but I mean we could work around with it. The next one will be for the Wizards. The Wizards get Trae Young, and again that second-round pick. I forgot to add that second-round pick in, but then Hawks get Malachi Branham, AJ Johnson, Devin Carter. Then they also get Malik Monk, Dario Saric, and that first-round pick as well. And then the Kings get CJ McCollum. So this one I do want to break down here, especially with Fanspo here. Dude, Fanspo, go use it. It's free. It's a free account, and you can do so many things. So here, I have to add in the Kings, and the Kings then send Malik Monk to the Hawks. Like the Hawks are getting a haul of players. They get Saric to the Hawks. McCollum goes over to the Kings. Is that correct? Yes. And they also get Devin Carter. Holy cow. That's insane. They get a whole lot of... Is this Devin? Is this Devin? Yeah. So he goes to the Hawks as well. We'll leave that's Devin Carter. Yeah, that's Devin Carter. Good. The first round is still there, and then I had to add that second. Bro, this is stupid. This is kind of stupid. The Wizard, the Atlanta would end up that second round pick. Where was that second round pick coming from, though, bro? What the heck? Second round pick via the Hornets, dude. I don't know if they had that second, but Charlotte. I don't see a Charlotte second. I don't see a Hornets. I'll just add in this second here, just because it's a swap of some kind. This goes over to. I just don't get how they get that, bro. That's kind of crazy. That's a Orlando Magic second. What the heck? Oh, there we go. Not Chicago. Man, they have a lot of second round picks. Holy cow. Here's what I'm looking at here, boys. I'm just trying to find. There's so many second round picks, especially because we add in this third team. Um, Second round, no protections. The Wizards are sending a pick over. Is it the Wizards? No, the Wizards are getting all of the Wizard. Okay, I don't know. I'm not gonna add this pick, but we're gonna try this trade. Does it go through? Yes, it does. Okay. Um, the Hawks get a load of players. And you can see adding Sarge and Monk um boosts them up +4 instead of a -6 wins. Trae Young stays the same. But then right here, McCollum, I don't know if this totally makes sense for a Kings team. It's an expiring deal. You get off Saric and Monk, who Saric is an expiring deal, but Monk is a good enough shooting guard that this just is such a crazy trade. It's such a crazy trade. I just don't totally understand this trade. If somebody completely understands this, let me know in the comments. But let's see what they have to say here. And the Bucks are the next trade. Alternately, Atlanta could try to find a larger or longer term option off the bench. Yeah, but like I don't think they would take. I just don't think the Kings would accept this. I think you would have to probably add in a second, maybe a first round pick to give up of Sarge and Monk. Like, I don't think the Kings accept this. I think if it was, say, the Wizards controlled all of these 5 players, yeah, that would go through, I think, and I would consider it. But, and again, it's the trade value of Trae Young we don't know, so I don't know. Like, I could be sounding stupid once we come out to see that Trae Young goes for 4 first-round picks. And that's the other thing. Desmond Bane went for 4 first-round picks. It's like, trade values in the NBA are so weird. I don't know about this one. Let me know for sure in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on all of these. Um, but yeah, man, that is crazy. That I wouldn't go with that one. I think I would go with this one more, the first one rather than the second one. But let's talk about the third one here. As they propose that the Bucks get Trae Young. You give up Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, Gary Harris, and a first-round pick. Again, if this is Trae Young's trade value, yes, I think I take this if I'm the Hawks. The Hawks, you get very good pieces off the bench. Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma, right? I really like this trade, actually. I really like this trade. I like this. Okay, ESPN, you're not totally trolling. Teams similar spots in the standings. So obviously it would be Kyle Kuzma to the Hawks. It would be Bobby Portis to the Hawks, and it would be Gary Harris to the Hawks. All in their 30s. Yep, all in their 30s. All on remaining deals for multiple years, which I really like that. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything else. And a 2031 first round pick. And that's a long time away. So add that trade to Hawks. We're going to try this trade. Boom. It succeeds. So this goes +3 wins for the Bucks, -3 wins for the Hawks. I'm not quite sure about that. I really like this. I like this the most. I like this better than the Wizards trades. I think you get Kyle Kuzma, you get Bobby Portis, you get Gary Harris. Good pieces off the bench, all on multiple year deals so that you don't lose them in the offseason. And you get a first round pick. I like this from the Hawks perspective. For the Bucks, I don't know. So like you see the Bucks, let me pull up their lineups. If I can do that without, totally messing everything up. The Bucks rotation, like what does that look like? I mean, I know they have some injuries, but like pairing Giannis and Trae Young is very interesting. It is very interesting because I don't know. I don't think Giannis is going to be in Milwaukee for very long, and I think you're saying, well, this is pairing up Giannis and Trae Young. Well, I just don't think Giannis is going to be a Buck for very much longer. But right now, then you have Trae Young at the 1, Ryan Rollins at the 2, AJ Green at the 3, Giannis at the 4, Turner at the 5. I mean, that's an okay starting lineup. But you lose your bench. You lose Portis, you lose Kuzma, and you lose Gary Harris. So you have Gary Trent Jr. Kevin Porter Jr., Jericho Sims, Andre Jackson Jr., Mark Sears, Cole Anthony. That's your bench. I don't know if I totally like that. And at a team, so on the Bucks perspective, I don't think the Bucks should get Trae. But for the perspective of the Atlanta Hawks, I would accept this. If the Bucks were offering you this, I would accept it because Trae is obviously, not doing it for you and you're winning without him. And then you make your bench better with adding 3 guys for somebody who's not even playing for you, really. I would take this and you get a first round pick in this. I don't even think this should be -3 wins. I think this should be a +3 wins, if anything. Um, I don't know if Trae is going to. I mean, you're obviously also saying, well, what if they lose Giannis? Then they have another star in Trae Young. I don't know. I think Trae Young is kind of that dude where he needs a co-star. I don't think he could take it over who can really. Giannis, if you didn't have a true. I mean, he doesn't really have a true co-star, has been kind of taking over. But we've seen even Edwards kind of struggle with this. He needs a co-star once in a while. I just think Trae Young is even worse than Ant-Man, that he needs another star. And just looking at this Milwaukee Bucks, depth chart, rotation, it's not the best. And that's all I'm saying here. But I wouldn't be opposed to that offer for sure. It's the ESPN, you've got me to like one of your 3 trades so far. Let's see if we can go 50%. What's your final trade offer? It's the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers get Trae Young, and the Hawks get Jeremy Grant and Robert Williams III. I'm going to just straight up say no. Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is a member of the Blazers. You paid him in the offseason. Sure, he's out for the season, but what does this say then about Dame? And are you just gonna let Dame go? I'm just gonna say no to this. I don't think the Blazers are gonna do anything. I don't think they should be this desperate. Here in the standings, sure they're 9th overall. They are 2 games back of the Warriors for the 8th spot. The Western Conference is way more hard to compete in rather than the East. And so I'm like, when I'm saying, oh yeah, the Bucks, because in a way that could make sense because the East is so bad that maybe you're flirting with a playoff spot right now, that maybe that does help you in the long term. Kind of same thing here in the Wizards. They're in the Eastern Conference. When it comes to the West, besides it's really the Warriors and up, those teams have a chance of doing anything, but it's really only the top 6 teams in my opinion. Everybody below, I'm sorry, you got to go for next year because the West is way more competitive than the East. So I'm just going to say no to that. And so I only like one of those 4 trade ideas for Trae Young. But ESPN, maybe one of those things goes right and they listen to you, and hey, who knows? Who knows indeed. But I also kind of want to see the Sporting News had this here. Trae Young trade destinations. Wizards are still back here. Hornets, Mavericks, best possible spots for star guard. 19 hours ago here as I'm recording this in the afternoon of January 6th. But Sacramento Kings. Okay. Zach LaVine could be a piece that comes back in a Young deal. Ooh. That is kind of interesting. Let's roll this one. Let's see. I'll entertain with this one because this one could help the Kings build up for next season. And then since they don't have as much salary, they have way more salary than normal. You're dumping this $47 million. You have to figure out, what to do with 42 from Sabonis. But you dump LaVine to the Hawks. You get Trae Young. It's about the similar. You could do this straight up. You could do it straight up, technically. Zach LaVine, let's talk about this. He's 30 years old. He's an older shooting guard. He could be your shooting guard in your rotation, or he could come off the bench. Right now, your lineup is Dyson Daniels, Nikhil, Jalen Johnson, who is it? Richard and Okongwu or Porzingis. You have some good guys because then you have Newell, and Porzingis or Okongwu, whoever doesn't play, coming off the bench, so is Luke Kennard. In a way, I do think you could put Levine at the 2 and then put one of your other guards. Either you keep, I think you keep Dyson Daniel as the PG, and then you put Nikhil, even though he's been playing great, you could put him at the 3 even, and then have Richard come off the bench, or Nikhil go off the bench as well, and then you have Richard still in the starting lineup. I think this could work this could work. This could work. He has 2 years also left, so he can, they can work with that. They would have a little bit of money to work with here. But then the Kings get Trae Young, a good point guard, something that they don't have. They have a lot of shooting guards when you think about it. DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk. They do have Dennis Schroeder, but then I think you could probably end up flipping Dennis Schroeder for something else either. I think this could be the start of something for the Kings. It goes through right here. I think Trae Young for Zach LaVine is I think it works, but I think the Hawks would need to get something else. Could that be Devin Carter? Maybe. I kind of like Devin Carter, yeah, because they don't have as many point guards now. They would have a lot of shooting guards. Let's throw in Devin Carter to the Hawks. Devin Carter and Zach LaVine for Trae Young. Hypothetically, this should go through. And yeah, it does. Yeah, I would entertain with that. Let me know if you guys like that for sure. I think I could entertain with that. Okay, sporting news. Okay, chill. The third one is the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets are in year 6 of the LaMelo Ball experiment, and they're still a team that looks lottery bound. That's not all on Ball, who's played well this season. If Ball and Young can find a better fit, a fresh start is all a player needs. And then we'll talk about the Mavericks after this. Okay, so they're suggesting a Hornets Hawks trade that is LaMelo, dude, Mr. 6'7" himself. LaMelo goes to the Hawks for Trae Young. This works financially, but then I do think you could probably get something else here. Not Brendan Miller, not Con Knipple. But those are now your kind of younger guys. And then you have a little bit older guy, 27 years old, Trae Young. I like that. Miles Bridges. You have a lot of shooting guards. I think Colin Sexton could go there as a rental for just an off the bench piece. Would this work financially? This would work financially. Okay. Colin Sexton and then LaMelo Ball for Trae Young. Could see that happening. Maybe you throw in a pick here or there. But then I want to take a look here. LaMelo would be the point guard. Then you would have Nikhil. Then you would have Jalen Johnson. You would have, who is your power forward? You could run a double big with Porzingis and Okongwu or Richard as well. You can put him in. He's 6'8". I think you could run Jalen Johnson at the power forward as well. And then you have Dyson Daniels coming off the bench, Newell coming off the bench, Kennard coming off the bench. I think the bench here, if you can get someone good and somebody good for the bench, you get Sexton and Ball. This team could be interesting. And then you maybe let go of Sexton at the offseason. But then you have LaMelo for the next 3 years after this season. Does something like this work? Let me know. Okay. I mean, hey. I just realized I wasn't sharing it. Haha. There you go. This is what I'm talking about right here. Let's try this trade here. Yeah, I mean, it would go through. So something like this, let me know for sure. Let me know for sure if you think that could be a possibility. I'd be very interested to see reactions to this too as well. I don't know. I think LaMelo could be, maybe just a change of scenery, as the Sporting News says. They just say it right here. Sometimes a fresh start is all a player needs. Secondly, we got the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks are a very interesting team. Would this be an Anthony Davis trade? Would this be? They desperately need a point guard. Young, right? They're much more interested in a pick owned from the Pelicans. Which the Hawks would be crazy to give up, sure. But if it wouldn't involve the Pelicans pick and Young would probably need to go to a third team. So I mean, they're saying the Mavericks are interested in that Pelicans pick, which could land them a top 3 pick hypothetically, a Debonsa, Boozer, or one of those guys. I mean, but the problem is their centers have been good. So I don't know if I totally like this, but here again, we'll try it out. We'll try it out here. Let me share the screen this time. The Mavs, I mean, I think the Mavs could be sneaky. The Mavs could be sneaky. I mean, once you get Kyrie too, like who knows? Kyrie then maybe could get dumped somewhere else. But I think they're suggesting here it's an Anthony Davis trade, dumping him for a point guard because they traded him for a point guard from, Luka. We all know that what happened there. Anthony Davis goes to them. I think you would have to give them back a big. A Kongu, no, but I think you could probably put in Porzingis. Now, this is going to be hard, though, with the money. This is going to be hard with the money here. You might have to do a 3-team trade. They're not going to do a Kongu. Maybe Luke Kennard. He's an expiring deal, though. I don't know if you would do that. Could you do this financially even? Yeah, you could. You could do Kennard and... Oh, haha. Trade. Hold on. Move Kennard. What the heck? What am I doing? There we go. Sorry. I'm chill. There we go. Kennard and Young would not really even go through. I bet we could do it. It's hard capped at the second apron, so it needs 1.5 mil. Something like that. We could send somebody over, add in, like a Dante Exum. Let's actually just do that. That should go. So we're in the second anchor. Good. So Kennard and Young for Davis and Exum. And then I believe you would have to probably end up throwing in a pick, I think. They would have to. I mean, they have that Pelicans pick they're interested in. But what about just one of this random here? This pick you add in. Let's try this trade just so we can see it. It is a successful trade. Young, Kennard, and a first would go to the Mavericks for Davis and Exum. I think something like that could work with or without the pick. But I don't know. I just don't really think the Mavericks are a good spot for Trae, especially because you have Kyrie, and I think Kyrie they want Kyrie. I think. So I don't know. I don't know about that. But finally, we're gonna come back here to the Washington Wizards. The Wizards have are sorely lacking complement. Young would instantly help Washington improve their offense. And make life a lot easier for prospects like Kayshawn George and Alex Sarr. The low cost would be the selling point for the Wizards. CJ McCollum is an expiring deal, isn't plan of teams' long-term plans. It is a salary filler. The Hawks might even have to add something. The Wizards could get a low-risk look at Young for the next year and a half and then decide what to do with him. Yeah. I mean, so when you put it that way, it's like, yeah, that's why people are saying, but like CJ McCollum, I just don't know. Like, we'll go back to this Wizards trade over here. CJ McCollum, I just don't totally. He's 34 years old. He hasn't been. I mean, he's averaging what, 16.3 points a game. I mean, it's about what Trae is. And again, the trade value for Trae Young, we just don't know what it is. But McCollum would go into this trade. This would work financially. I think the Hawks would need somebody else. I do think they would need somebody else. So what about you add in like Corey Kispert? I know they have a lot of forwards, so maybe not. And when you look at this like roster, you're like, what do they need? So they have Luke Kennard, which is he was just in our trade, so that's why he's in there. But the guard play is Kennard, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels. The forwards, Richard, Jalen Johnson, Newell, and then the centers are Okongwu and Porzingis. I think, in a way here, you could try to get, Malachi. You could try to get AJ Johnson, maybe even both of them. So that were the trades that ESPN was, offering. Up here, let me pull it up here so I don't actually, make it. But like that's where they're totally getting this. It's like they do CJ McCollum, and then you need some younger guys and a first. I could see that happening. I could even see 2 firsts for Young. But yeah, no, that's enough for what other people are saying. But let me know. Let me know if you like any of these trades for sure. Um, we're gonna get to what I'm starting to think here. Actually, yeah, what I'm starting to think, and if you know me, I'm a Timberwolves fan, and the Timberwolves desperately need a point guard. It is not shocking. It's well known. And last night, I came up with this little trade here. I posted it on Fanspo. Didn't really get any likes. I just wanted to see if anybody would say anything, and then I could, say I could talk about what people are saying about this trade. But nobody really said anything. But here's the trade. Let me know your thoughts on this trade. But I came up with this trade last night. Julius Randle, Mike Conley, Rob Dillingham, and a first-round pick for Trae Young and Dante. This says the Timberwolves lose a win and the Hawks gain a win, but it helps. Let me explain this to you. I titled this too. Is this realistic enough? Young to the Wolves. Wolves get their PG and the back up big. I don't know why it doesn't say back up. Here, let me just right there. Back up big. They need. Tell me your thoughts. Nobody really told me their thoughts. However, gives you your point guard to play alongside in the backcourt with Anthony Edwards. And then we also need a backup big when Gobert gets out. And that could be the 6'11 Dante, who is, low minutes, league minimum, on a contract for 2 years, but is still pretty good. I like Dante a lot. He's fairly young, 24 years old, and we know that he can play pretty well. Sure, he's not averaging a lot, but he plays 15 minutes in 4 games. I like what he could do, and I think he could be a legit part here in this trade to help him. I don't think we have salary for any other of the bigger names like Porzingis if we were to make a trade. So that's why I was like, I don't think we can do it. But can I adjust I can't adjust. Yeah, no. But yeah, we would give up Julius Randle, which low key is fine. Low key, Naz Reid has been playing at a great level that I could be fine with Naz Reid becoming our power forward. Sure, he's a little shorter than we would want, but he's been playing well that I think he could be elevated into the starting lineup. There we lose Julius Randle. Mike Conley hasn't been doing anything. And then Rob Dillingham, they completely just basically gave up. They gave up on Rob. We give them a young point guard that they can develop maybe. Conley will retire this season, and then they get a first-round pick. I think for the Hawks, this looks good here. I also wrote rotation for the Wolves. This is what they would be, and what they would, and then what Atlanta would get as well. So the rotation for the Wolves would be Trae Young, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert. The bench, DiVincenzo, Dante. Not Dante DiVincenzo, but Dante, the player that we traded, or Dante, or whatever you want to say it. Jalen Clark, TJ Shannon. Or you could even make an argument for Johan Berenjay. The Hawks rotation, this is where it gets kind of crazy, is like maybe you could try to keep a first-round pick out of this because Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson, Julius Randle, and then Okongwu or Porzingis, and then Okongwu or Porzingis off the bench, Richard, Kennard, Newell, Conley, Dillingham. They also would get a 2026 first. I think this is a really good trade for the Hawks. Timberwolves, you have to figure out, okay, are we fine giving up Julius Randle? I think I would at least, but we'll see what Tim Conley decides to do. I really like this trade. Let me know your thoughts for sure. I would love to know your thoughts on this. But that's just one of my first trade ideas for the Timberwolves. But let's take a little bit more and look here at like what else we could do. So if we were to get Trae Young, when we look here, we have to give up a lot of money. If anything, $42 million. About. So I mean, obviously we could do a Edwards Young swap. They would take that for sure. But to keep more assets, to keep our lineup kind of intact. I think then you would have to get up Nas Reed. Nas Reed could be the other factor here. Then you would have to give up again 20 million, and you could still add in Conley. You could still add in Dillingham. And this is where it gets to. You get to 3 million. So you could do this Nas, Conley, Dillingham. I want to keep Bones, but like Leonard Miller, I'd be interested in. Leonard Miller. Does this get this still doesn't get through. Are you kidding? Um let's just do Leonard Miller. Obviously a first round pick in this. Maybe even another in 2030 first rounder. Try this. I don't know if it goes financially. I think it will probably be failed. Yeah. Um oh, come on, bro. Come on. Come on, bro. We had to do that. Are you kidding? Oh, boys, we just lost it all. That's I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Add in back the Timberwolves, but now you guys have a little idea of how that works. Trae Young, you would add to the Timberwolves, but as we can see, that trade didn't go through. So, I mean, you could if you want to give, I think Jaden McDaniels is more valuable to the Timberwolves than Julius Randle. And actually, when you think about it, Julius Randle is the same height as Nas Reed. Like, what the heck am I saying? Like, that's what my trade works. My trade works. I think that works the best. I think this, dude, okay, that makes me feel a lot better. They're the same height. I think this works. I think this is the best trade that the Timberwolves could do. It works financially, it works everything, and you get a backup big. To get a better backup big, is that humanly possible? Let's talk. Let's talk a little bit. So we would throw Randall in here. We would throw Dillingham in for sure. This would not work financially. You would only need 5 million. So you could even keep Mike Conley and throw in like Leonard and Clark, but I think Conley is the easy money out here. And then you can add that money because now you have about 5 million to add in another big. So obviously this is where Dante could come in at 6'11. Muhammad Guy is a year younger. So we could add in Guy. We could add Asa. I think it's gonna be one of these two guys. So Dante or Guy. Let's add in Guy to this to change it up here. Without the first, you could do Guy, Young for Randall, Dillingham, and Conley. And again, you try this trade. This should go through, and it does. So it's this trade, or you. Was I sharing this? I wasn't sharing this. There you go. Guy and Young for Randall, Conley, and Dillingham, or you could do it with a first round pick and get Dante. You could add in a first round pick. Either way, I think you could do this without the first rounder, but it's going to be interesting to see, if the Timberwolves do that. But that's an idea I've had. But other than the Timberwolves, who else do I think? Who else could be a target? Um, a team that could be trying to get Trae Young. When I look at the Western Conference, let's narrow down some teams here. The Thunder, no. The Spurs, no. The Nuggets, no. Rockets could be interesting. There's been rumors about the Lakers. I just don't think you do that at all, okay? Unless, never mind. I just had an idea. Here. I'm gonna add a 3-team trade. We're gonna add the Cavs, and we're gonna add the Lakers. We're going to add the Lakers into this trade. We're going to see if there's some way, somehow, you create an insane backcourt here. So Trae Young goes to the Lakers. Then you add in LeBron James, who, obviously goes to Cleveland. Okay, so how does this then work? So then the Hawks would need something. This works all financially. The Hawks would need something. What would the Hawks get? The Hawks could get something. It needs to be money worth because LeBron's contract is absolutely insane. Jared Allen, I don't think so. But I do think Darius Garland, you trade him to the Hawks. This doesn't even work financially yet. Then you have to give up something else here. So Darius Garland goes. I just think he hasn't been playing great this season. DeAndre, I think trade him to the Hawks. DeAndre Hunter. This would not even go through. I think that this 3-team trade would be too hard, right? Yeah, it would be a little hard. So maybe it's not as crazy, but could we do this trade? Young going to them. They would actually only need 32. Like, why is this somehow possible? Well, this could be humanly possible, you guys. This is absolutely crazy. You add in a first round pick from the 2026, your own pick here. I'd say add in a 2028 first rounder, and then probably Rui Hachimura, an expiring deal, but could help you and then re-sign him for fairly cheap if you want. Probably Jared Vanderbilt would have to go over here as well. And then one more player would have to go here. Marcus Smart. I think they like Marcus Smart. Kleber could be interesting. Dalton Connect could be interesting. Bronny James. But let's do Jackson Hayes, who also has 1 year. Or no, let's give him Dalton Connect. I think Connect is actually you know, obviously also this still has a lot. Like, that's absolutely crazy. I thought I would have to do a 3-team trade. But you could do a Hachimura, Vanderbilt, Connect, and 2 first rounders for like Trae Young. Like, is this absolutely insane? I think this isn't. It doesn't go. What? What happened? You were over the income, whatever. But something like that, I think, could be kind of crazy. Um, I don't think it's realistic. I don't think that happens. But also, if you were to do this, you could let's just take some players out of here first. Keep those first, but then you add in like Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves then goes over to the Hawks in this, and then you only need 19 million. So then there's your Rui Hachimura trade there. And then so they've given up 32, 45. Let's just try this in general here to see. Um, it will look interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's be a little too much. I think that would be a very desperate Lakers team, and I don't think that happens here. But I thought, why not make a try for this? But also, the Houston Rockets don't have the best point guard play here. I think that could be a for sure interesting team. So let's go over here. So you have Durant, Şengün, Van Vliet has been hurt, so he hasn't been playing. Um, so I feel like this would probably end up being Reed Shepherd traded to them. They would get Trae Young. Would this work financially? No, it would not. They need $22 million out of here. Dorian Finney-Smith could be interesting. Jabari Smith Jr. could be interesting. Amen Thompson, no, you would keep him. Dorian Finney-Smith, I think that could be an interesting fit. They don't have a designated power forward. So like Shepard, Finney-Smith, and then you still need what, 9.5 million. Jabari Smith would kind of be crazy. Steven Adams would be kind of crazy, but again, like they have a lot of centers. They have Capella. They have Adams. Let's do Adams in this trade here. Adams, Shepard, Finney-Smith for Trae Young. I mean, I think this is kind of in a way realistic. It's still not. You're over the allowable income. The Rockets are taking too much salary. Oh, because of the apron and stuff. Okay, but something like this I think could work. Let me know your thoughts for sure. And if you think I think the Rockets will probably not. But I was just like, well, let's try. Let's just go through all these teams here. Timberwolves we already talked about. The Suns, that could be interesting for sure. The Warriors could be interesting. I want to do the Warriors here, but then other than that, these other trades, no. The Bulls in trading Colby White, that could be a good change of scenery for them here. Hold on. We'll talk about the Bulls in a second. Let's go to, I don't want to do the Suns. I want to do the Warriors. Actually, no, they have Steph as their point guard. I don't think that. Let's do the Bulls. Let's do the Bulls here. The Chicago Bulls. Boom. So this would obviously be a point guard swap with Colby White on an expiring deal. That's kind of gross. I'm going over there, and then I think probably Vucevic would probably end up in this trade somehow. Actually, no, they only need 1 more million. Okay, so Colby White, I think you could probably re-sign him pretty easily, if you're the Hawks. And then I think you add somebody else, just not too much money though. Javon Carter, Modest, no. Noah, no. Julian Phillips, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And, for the bench, he's averaging not the best. He hasn't been playing much. Jalen Smith, center. Again, like you could play him at the power forward spot as well. This would kind of work. This would work. Kobe White and Smith for Young. And then again, we just don't know the trade value, but it's a protected. They wouldn't take the unprotected one you do here. Let's just try it again, see if it would kind of no, it wouldn't go through because the apron space, but something similar to this. Would that happen? Or instead of doing Kobe White, do you do Josh Giddey? Gets you more salary there. Something like that. Let me know if the Bulls could be. I think I don't know. I think the Bulls might be a selling team. Not gonna lie, I think they could be a selling team. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure here. I mean, I'm just looking at the standings, trying to see if there's any other teams. Like the 76ers dumping Paul George's salary could be interesting. I just don't think so. The Cavs in like just a Garland swap. I mean, like we did the Cavs with like we were just trying to get LeBron to the Cavs, but like um Young goes over here to the Cavs. That would be kind of interesting though. Not gonna lie, that would be interesting to see Darius Garland the swap there. But you still need so much money. You have to get 28 million out of there. Like that's absolutely insane. Like they're in a bad spot here with financially. Like Andre Hunter could go to the Hawks. And that it still wouldn't work. It's absolutely and then uh Tyson could go into there. This still wouldn't work. Like it's absolute. I think that's just too hard financially for sure. Um I mean, let's go back over here to see any other teams. Orlando, no. Uh oof. Pistons, no. Celtics, no. I mean, Celtics, maybe. Toronto, no. I think Toronto. I would take Boston over Toronto. Would it be like a Derek White there? I mean, also the thing is, Young makes so much money. Young does make a lot of money that makes it harder here. Derek White is under contract for 4 years. Then you had 10 and Sam Hauser, which actually, low-key, this could work. This could work financially. You could get it to work financially. Then you add like somebody making almost league minimum here. Jordan Walsh averaging 4.4 points a game. He's also 6'7". If y'all care about that stuff, try this trade just for financial. No, it doesn't. We're having some troubles here though with apron space right now. But Young going to the Celtics, you would have that lineup once Tatum comes back. Probably Young, Pritchard, Brown, Tatum. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd totally like that. But these are fun things to speculate here. I think that's all for me. Like I don't have really other. I really want the Timberwolves to get them as a Timberwolves fan. I really want him. I mean I could see a Wizards trade happening. I just think that's like not what anybody wants to see. Miami, maybe we didn't really talk about Miami. I guess we could do Miami here to close it up here, and then we'll take a look at what other people are thinking. But the Heat, Trae Young going over there. I mean, that could be interesting. That could really be interesting. They could probably keep some of their bigger guys too. I think Andrew Wiggins would probably go in this. Andrew Wiggins goes in here, and this makes it possible for sure. Um, and let's do Davion Mitchell as well. And I think, yeah, this goes through here. And I think you probably end up even giving up a first round pick in this for the Hawks. So then the Hawks get Wiggins as a backup bench player or a starter, even if you wanted Davion Mitchell, young player. I think. I mean, that could work. That could work. That might be one of my more favorite ones for sure. He and both of them have 2 years left on their deal. This would go through, correct? Please tell me this goes through. No, what? What is going on? Under, yes. Davion cannot be traded until January 15th because he re-signed using. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. Okay, but no, it would work. It would work in a couple weeks. So it would work. It would have to be next Thursday. He would be able to be traded. But yeah. No, okay. Okay. I mean, hey, that could work. That could be interesting. Ignore the failed. I think I like that. And I think that's what we'll end it on here. when we're talking about what I think could happen. Let's take a look at what other people should happen. Let's give you my thoughts on what other people are saying here on Fanspo. Let's actually let's refresh it. Let's refresh this page here because people post these trades every couple minutes. Every single minute here. These should be only Trae Young trade ideas. We're loading, and as you can see, 5 minutes ago, right? This is Trae Young going to the Wizards. Blockbuster Trae Young to the Wizards. McCollum, Malachi, so kind of saying the same thing. They also got a first round pick here. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we were talking about. Mavericks invest. Okay, I did want to see how they were going to end up doing this Mavericks thing. So the Hawks would get Davis and D'Lo, Wizards would get Young, and then Mavericks would be getting Chris Middleton, Corey Kispert, and 2 firsts. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that. And also, you think about, could a Giannis Trae Young trade happen in a 3-team trade? Obviously, with maybe Young ending up going to the Wizards, you could do that same thing with, the Hawks getting Giannis, and then the Mavs send a bunch of players to otherwise, or the Wizards send other people otherwise, and it just all works out. Something to ponder for sure. This one has, I just don't know if the Kings, I don't know. It's interesting. It is for sure interesting about the Kings. I don't know exactly if we want to do that. Raptors land Trae Young in a 3-team trade. Emmanuel quickly plus some other players go over to the Hawks. RJ Barrett goes to the Bucks in this trade, and then Trae Young and Kyle Kuzma and a first round pick goes to the Raptors. For the Raptors, I like this, but for the other teams, I don't really like it. RJ Barrett maybe, but other than that, I don't like the Hawks return enough for Trae Young, I don't think. But obviously, we don't know what his value is. See if there's any Timberwolves. Here is okay. And Anthony Davis is included in this. Davis and Harden go to the Hawks. The Clippers get Naz Reid, Conley, and Dillingham. Timberwolves get Trae Young. Mavericks get Porzingis, Richard, and Newell. Very interesting. That is very interesting. The Hawks by getting Harden. How would they get that? Dude, so the Clippers would just give the Hawks them, but they would get Conley, Dillingham, and Reed. What are the Mavs giving up for? The Mavs are getting Porzingis. I mean, that's a good return. That's a good return for Anthony Davis. We would get. I mean, hey, if it means we somehow keep Julius Randle and get Trae Young, I'd be down for that. But I think a lot of the same. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. It failed. It failed, buddy. It failed. Why did it fail? Probably because Naz Reid is included into this trade. But the Hawks get Naz, Conley, Dillingham, with also Trae Young going to the Clippers, and then the Timberwolves get James Harden. Yes, he's a point guard. I want Trae Young over James Harden. I don't think James Harden will fit our play style. I think Young is quicker, and that's what we need. We need somebody to play good defense. Okay, really good defense, and I like Trae Young. He's ice. He's ice. A lot of Timberwolves we're seeing here. Similar trades. Trade to the Timberwolves. Ooh. Okay, so this is too much. This is too much, I think. You basically give up your entire bench. You give up your entire bench for this, and I say no. I think you have to give up a starter so then Nas could be in the starting role. I think Julius Randle is the logical way here to go. I think giving up Julius and Dillingham and then probably Conley is the most realistic way to go. Here, again, this is the trade that I had come up with last night. Something like this. Dante or another big. So you can work around with this. But I think getting Trae Young for these players is what's going to happen if the Timberwolves get that. But it's going to be interesting for sure. I'm just continue scrolling to see if anybody else has any interesting things that caught my eye here. No. Ooh, a Gobert trade. I like Gobert. I think he's been our second best player all season. And I don't really want to see him go, but I'm interested to see. Let's see. Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton, Jalen Wilson, and a first round pick goes to the Hawks. Trae Young, Sharp, Martin go to the Timberwolves. Rudy, Conley, Dillingham, 3 firsts, Richard go to the Nets, bro. That's overpaying. I'm sorry. That's overpaying. That's overpaying. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen for sure. Well, I think I might just have to. I mean, look how many trades people have an idea, and this is so great. This is so great. One more AD pitch here. McCollum, Kispert, Healed, and a first-round pick go to the Hawks. That's a decent return for whoever they're giving up. They're giving up Guy in this. They're giving up Young. They're giving up a first, and that's it. For that, I wouldn't be mad. Draymond goes to the Pistons. Kuminga dude. The Warriors just selling everybody. Then Santos and Young to the Wizards. Yeah, I think the Wizards are the leading team right now, and then the Warriors get Anthony Davis. Oh gosh. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay. Hey, there's a lot of ideas here for Trae Young of where he might end up. Preferably, I like this trade that I came up with the best here. I want the Timberwolves to get a point guard and you get a backup big as well. And then, promote, you can promote Naz Reid to the starting lineup. I think he's worth that for sure. And yeah, I think, let me know. Let me know if you like those trades or not. I think that's going to do it for today's episode here on Inside the Zone with Matteo. I did want to take one more peek here at Bleacher Report. They were talking about one bold thing for each team. I want to see what they had for the Timberwolves. They think the Bucks are. Hold on, here's interesting. Bucks will start a rebuild. That's interesting. It's fitting that Milwaukee Bucks follow the Miami Heat. What were they saying about the Heat? Oh, Heat will trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where Giannis is gonna go. But the Timberwolves will add a guard. Okay. Um. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that set it up. That set it up because then the first thing here they were going in alphabetical order. I'm gonna read this for sure by myself. But Atlanta will trade Trae Young. I think it's fitting that we get him. I think it's Young or John Morant. I think we're gonna get one of the bigger name point guards. It's going to be interesting to see, though. But that's going to do it for today on Inside the Zone with Matteo. Again, Shems Charania reporting yesterday in early evening that All-Star Trae Young and his agents are working on with the franchise, the Atlanta Hawks, on a trade that the sources were telling ESPN. Young's reps and the Hawks have started collaborative talks over the last week on finding a resolution. Possibly this is why we didn't see him play against the Timberwolves, even though the Hawks kind of destroyed the Timberwolves. By the way, I streamed that game, so if you want to look at kind of just what the streams look like for when I do live play-by-play and game reaction, go ahead and check that one out on my YouTube channel. But I'm just trying to grow my YouTube channel here. I'm trying to get into the sports industry, as you know. I want to be a sports journalist once I graduate college here. I'm still in high school, but I'm on my way to college eventually. I hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want more NBA content, let me know in the comments down below. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to keep God first. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.